Taurus, steady soul with a heart that has carried more than most people ever see. This is far more than another horoscope video. What begins unfolding around May 22nd and 23rd, 2026, carries the power to shift the direction of your life in ways you may not fully understand yet, because moments like this do not arrive often. Something rare is beginning to move after a long season of waiting, and somewhere inside, you already feel it. Take a slow breath and let that settle into you. A change that has been quietly forming beneath the surface for years is finally beginning to rise, and if this message found you now, it is not without reason. Timing like this has a way of finding people exactly when their spirit is finally ready to hear what life has been trying to say all along. You are responding to something deeper than coincidence. Around May 22nd and 23rd, a rare alignment between Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion, and Venus, your ruling planet, begins opening a doorway that asks you to receive instead of force. This is more than astrology. It feels like roots buried deep beneath your life finally reaching water again after a long drought. Taurus, this is not the season for endlessly searching for proof, because this moment itself is the proof. Something inside you already recognizes that a shift has begun. Life has been preparing you for this in ways that were not always easy. The delays, disappointments, and plans that seemed to fall apart before they could bloom were never signs that you were forgotten. They were building stronger ground beneath your feet. You were not being denied by life. You were being slowed down long enough to create something lasting. Deep down, you have always sensed there was something more calling to you through dreams, instincts, and quiet moments you could never fully explain. And now that feeling is becoming impossible to ignore. So let me ask you honestly, Taurus, are you finally ready to receive what has been trying to reach you? Because this is not only a prediction about the future, it is a reflection of something your soul has carried for a long time, and something meaningful is beginning to unfold. Dreams you buried, especially the ones you convinced yourself were unrealistic, are returning with new purpose and deeper roots beneath them. And Taurus, you are not meant to move through this season alone. Around these dates, a message, conversation, or someone from your past may reappear, carrying clarity, support, or direction you have quietly needed. Stay open to what returns, because moments like this rarely come twice. Before we continue, I want to thank you for being here, for every comment, every like, and every person who keeps showing up with an open heart. What is being created here has become more than an audience. It is a place where people searching for healing and truth recognize themselves in one another. So if something inside you already feels stirred awake, if this message settles into your chest like a memory your spirit never truly lost, leave this in the comments below. I release the need to force. What is meant for me is finding its way back. Stay with me through this message, Taurus, because what unfolds from here reaches far beyond surface change. Sometimes life shifts quietly beneath us, long before anything visible appears, like roots stretching underground before spring touches the earth. And for you, that movement is beginning now. What once felt dormant is beginning to respond to warmth again. This shift begins through the quiet language of the heavens, though not in some distant symbolic way. Around May 22nd and 23rd, 2026, a rare alignment begins unfolding, carrying the feeling of a season finally turning after a long stretch of stillness. And when timing like this arrives, it does more than bring temporary luck. It opens a doorway back into yourself, into wisdom your spirit has carried all along, waiting for the right moment to rise. Like seeds resting beneath cold earth, certain truths within you have not disappeared. They have simply been waiting for warmth. In astrological terms, Jupiter moves into Gemini, the energy connected to communication, thought, and connection. This shift does not simply expand ideas, it awakens new ways of seeing yourself and your life. And for Taurus, something that has remained unspoken inside you begins reaching toward expression. At the same time, Venus moves closer to Pluto, bringing deeper transformation beneath the surface. While Jupiter opens outward doors, Pluto reshapes emotional foundations from within, asking you to release patterns that no longer fit the person you are becoming. Together, these energies stir the parts of you that still hesitate before fully stepping into your desires. The parts that learn to stay quiet, stay safe, or make yourself smaller out of fear that wanting more would cost too much. This alignment asks a powerful question. Are you ready to reclaim the pieces of yourself you buried simply to survive? People often see you as calm and grounded, Taurus, but beneath that stillness lives enormous emotional strength. And this rare alignment is not simply encouraging you to trust yourself more deeply. It is asking you to stop resisting what your spirit has known for a long time. This is not about ego or proving anything to anyone. It is about timing, finally meeting readiness. If your life has felt as though something important has been trying to emerge beneath the surface, there is a reason for that. What makes this season sacred is not astrology alone. It is the way timing gathers together everything you have survived, everything you quietly carried, and every hope you thought had gone silent. May 22nd and 23rd hold the feeling of a river slowly reshaping stone over time until suddenly the landscape is different. Your disappointments, hidden gifts, and silent hopes are beginning to gather into one grounded shift that quietly whispers, "You are ready now." Real transformation rarely arrives through dramatic moments alone. Most miracles appear through alignment, through the right conversation, realization, or opportunity meeting you exactly when your heart is finally open enough to receive it. The difference between an ordinary moment and a life-changing one is often readiness. And readiness begins when you recognize that something inside you is asking to grow instead of remain hidden. Maybe you have already felt this beginning, a memory resurfacing, a dream you thought you had outgrown suddenly feeling alive again, a quiet pull towards something you cannot fully explain. That is not nostalgia, it is movement. As Jupiter moves into Gemini, your inner voice grows clearer. And as Venus draws closer to Pluto, what once felt like a whisper becomes impossible to ignore. Do not shrink away from your own becoming. You do not need every answer today. You are not being asked to rush ahead before you feel grounded, but you are being asked to slow down enough to notice what is changing inside you. This message found you for a reason. What is unfolding now is not simply information. It is revelation, the kind that reshapes what you believe you deserve. So sit with what is rising within you and ask yourself honestly, what truth am I finally ready to live? What desire am I no longer willing to silence? What old story no longer fits the person I am becoming? Because beyond this doorway is not simply another chapter. It is a steadier, more rooted way of experiencing your own life. And Taurus, somewhere deep inside, you have been preparing to build it all along. Some awakenings do not arrive loudly. They come softly, like warm air entering a room that has been closed too long, or a familiar name suddenly returning to your thoughts with new meaning. That is the energy surrounding this alignment for you now. Taurus, the star, Judgment, and the Ace of Swords are rising together now, forming a quiet bridge between who you have been and the version of yourself slowly coming back to life. These energies do not arrive dramatically. They move softly, like rain sinking into dry earth after a long season without water. And inside that softness is a truth your spirit is finally ready to carry. The star brings healing to the places where you once believed something inside you had broken beyond repair. This is not fragile hope before disappointment. It is the deeper kind that returns after loss, exhaustion, and survival. If you have been holding a dream quietly within yourself, especially one you stopped speaking about because the timing felt wrong or no one truly understood it, this is your sign that it never disappeared. It simply moved beneath the surface, settling deeper into your roots while life prepared you differently. Now it begins returning not as fantasy, but as something real enough to build toward, something grounded, something lasting. Judgment appears not to shame you, but to awaken you. It asks you to look back at the version of yourself who stayed silent, settled too quickly, or chose safety over truth with compassion instead of regret. That version of you was never weak. It was unfinished. This card arrives when your soul is finally ready to answer a deeper calling, one you feel in your chest long before you can explain it with words. And once you feel it, you can no longer pretend not to hear yourself. Then the Ace of Swords cuts through the fog with sudden clarity, like morning light entering a room closed for too long. A truth arrives sharply, often through something small and ordinary. It may come through a sentence you read, a conversation that lingers in your mind, or a message from someone you never expected to hear from again. This card is not only about understanding the truth, it is about finally allowing yourself to speak it and let it reshape your life. Together, these three energies offer a return to yourself, not only the return of a dream, but the return of the version of you who once believed that dream mattered. The part of you that existed before life taught you to shrink your desires for other people's comfort. This is not merely another attempt to begin again. It is a steadier beginning, because now you carry wisdom, stronger boundaries, and deeper roots beneath your choices. In everyday life, this may look like an old idea returning in a form that finally feels possible, a meaningful connection finding its way back, or a path you once feared suddenly feeling aligned with who you are becoming. Even if uncertainty appears at first, there is no need to rush. The message here is not impulsive action, it is awareness. Pay attention to the conversations unfolding around you. Notice what happens inside your body when certain names return or familiar places reappear in your life. Some of the deepest transformations begin quietly, like roots spreading underground long before anything blooms above the surface. These moments are not random. They are invitations from the future version of yourself that already exists beyond fear. And beginning around May 22nd and 23rd, 2026, several important shifts begin unfolding for you, connected by the same deeper thread. The return of something once thought lost, alignment. It may begin through a familiar name, an unexpected message, or a reconnection that feels strangely timed. Someone from your past may return not to reopen old wounds, but to bring clarity, support, or peace you did not realize had gone missing. And while your instinct may be to protect yourself, healing in this season asks for openness, guided by wisdom instead of fear. This new season will not require constant defense. It asks for discernment, softness, and the willingness to recognize that what is returning may no longer carry the same energy it once did. And perhaps you do not either. Soon after that reconnection, a dream you once labeled unrealistic begins quietly rising again. It may be a path, a vision, or even a part of yourself you slowly abandoned when life became too overwhelming to carry all at once. But now that dream returns differently, not as fantasy, but as something grounded enough to take root in real life. The timing has changed, and so have you. What once felt impossible now arrives with clearer direction, steadier structure, and support you did not have before. This time, you are not carrying it alone. Someone enters this chapter able to recognize your value without asking you to shrink yourself to be accepted. As this unfolds, your presence begins affecting people naturally. You stop trying to prove yourself, and life begins responding differently. People listen not because you become louder, but because your energy finally feels clear within itself. You stop chasing validation and begin attracting what genuinely aligns with your truth. There is power in grounded silence that never needs to announce itself. And when you choose peace over proving, life slowly rearranges around that steadiness. Even if all of this feels unfamiliar at first, remember that grace often arrives quietly. Sometimes it looks like a door opening slowly after years of standing unnoticed in the background. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became still enough to hear it moving. These moments are not asking you to become perfect, they are asking you to become honest. Who are you now that you have outgrown the noise you once carried? What part of yourself are you finally ready to reclaim simply because it has always belonged to you? This is how the quieter kind of miracle begins, not through dramatic events, but through small acts of courage that slowly rebuild a life from the inside outward. One choice, one conversation, one moment of trust at a time. And if uncertainty still lingers, let stillness guide you instead of fear. You do not need to rush into certainty. You only need to trust that when something returns and your spirit recognizes it immediately, there may be a reason for that. Maybe this is the answer you once prayed for, arriving in a form you did not expect. Let this become the season where you stop confusing stillness with failure. Real strength is not found in being the loudest person in the room. It is found in remaining centered while life shifts around you. And when that grounding settles into your spirit, life does not simply react, it recalibrates. Because the universe moves through alignment, not force. And Taurus, you are stepping into the kind of alignment that changes everything quietly and permanently. Not every transformation begins with a dramatic decision. More often, it begins with a slower breath, a pause before reacting, a moment where you finally listen inward instead of chasing noise outside yourself. And as this opening unfolds around May 22nd and 23rd, what matters most is not only what you do, but the energy you carry while doing it. Your inner state becomes the compass guiding everything else. This is where spiritual practice becomes something lived and real. The small rituals you choose each day begin shaping the future your soul has been quietly reaching toward. This season is not asking for dramatic reinvention, it is asking for intentional presence. Begin simply. Give yourself 10 quiet minutes every morning. Rest your hand over your heart. Breathe in slowly, as if welcoming the future already moving toward you. And breathe out, as if releasing the old versions of yourself that no longer belong here. Whisper softly, "I am being prepared for something beautiful and life-changing." Even if doubt still lingers, continue speaking those words until they begin softening your fear. You are not forcing miracles into existence. You are creating the inner ground where something meaningful can finally take root and bloom. Gentle movement matters too. Quiet walks, stretching, and the feeling of cool morning air filling your lungs as the day slowly begins around you. Allow your body to become a place of peace, not only a machine built for endurance and productivity. So much of what we carry settles quietly into the shoulders, the back, the muscles we tense without realizing. When you move with more softness instead of constant pressure, something emotional begins loosening too. The body holds stories the mind thought it had already moved beyond, and gentleness helps release them little by little. What you nourish yourself with matters deeply during this season, because even food carries energy into the body. Fresh greens, herbs, leafy vegetables, and even lime in your water can help lighten emotional heaviness and support clarity around the heart. Healthy fats like walnuts or flax seeds bring steadiness to the mind and help restore balance from within. This is not only about health, it is about alignment, slowly strengthening beneath the surface, the way roots deepen before anything blooms above ground. Color becomes part of the healing as well. Shades of blue calm mental noise and invite intuition forward, while silver and soft white remind you that every ending quietly carries the beginning of something new. Rose and violet tones soften emotional armor that has been held too tightly for too long. You are not being asked to prove your strength right now. This is a season for grounded grace, calm confidence, and allowing life to meet you more gently. Numbers may also begin appearing with unusual consistency during this cycle. The number 22 carries the energy of the builder, reminding you that your life is unfolding with purpose and that you are creating something lasting, not only for yourself, but for others too. The number 11 represents intuition and inner knowing. If repeated numbers or 1111 keep appearing around you, let it remind you that you are not lost. You are exactly where this chapter needs you to be. Still, real transformation rarely comes from signs alone. It begins with the shift happening inside you. Sometimes change starts the moment you move through life with more trust, more softness, and more awareness without losing your strength. You do not need your entire future mapped out right now. You only need to trust the next steady step in front of you. And if your heart feels tired from carrying too much for too long, let this become the season where you finally allow yourself to receive again. Not only blessings, but rest. Not only answers, but peace. You are not meant to solve your entire life overnight. You only need to begin caring for yourself like someone worthy of gentleness and support. Even now, quiet things are shifting behind the scenes of your life. Keep breathing. Keep moving slowly forward. Miracles do not always arrive dramatically. Sometimes they begin almost invisibly and still end up changing everything. Often, the moments that transform us begin when we finally loosen our grip instead of forcing outcomes. Taurus, you understand deeply the tension between holding on and letting go. Some of the most meaningful turning points arrive after one small moment of trust rather than endless overthinking. There is a story I want to share with you, not as instruction, but as a reflection of what becomes possible when you soften toward life again. She was a Taurus woman who had built a beautiful life on the outside. She created a meaningful business, a warm home, and relationships she genuinely cared about. But slowly, everything began unraveling. Financial pressure grew heavier, her work started collapsing, and eventually, the life she fought so hard to stabilize no longer held together. A relationship she believed in faded into silence. What she lost was more than stability. She lost trust in herself. For someone who longs for comfort, beauty, and emotional grounding, that kind of collapse feels deeply personal. For months, she pushed harder, trying to control every outcome and rebuild everything through effort alone. Yet the more she forced life forward, the more disconnected she became from herself. Then one morning, near May 22nd, 2026, she received an unexpected email from someone she never thought would return to her life. It came from a former competitor who simply asked, "Would you ever want to build something together?" Every instinct inside her wanted to hesitate and protect herself, but by then, something within her had softened. Not because she suddenly had certainty, but because she was too exhausted to remain closed off from possibility. So she said, yes. That one decision changed everything. Within months, they created something that honored her gifts without draining her spirit. Stability slowly returned, but so did her confidence, her clarity, and eventually her joy. Family relationships deepened, old wounds began healing, even love found its way back, not as fantasy, but as something calm, steady, and safe enough that she no longer felt she had to earn it. Later she wrote, "The path only reappeared once I stopped trying to control every outcome. I spent so long fighting life that I never realized life was trying to guide me somewhere better." Stories like this happen more often than people realize. They unfold quietly through unexpected messages, delayed opportunities, and moments we almost ignore. No matter what someone calls the divine, intuition, faith, or the universe, the deeper truth stays the same. Something greater often moves through our lives once we stop resisting every unknown. So if you are standing in uncertainty right now, Taurus, do not rush to rebuild everything through logic alone. Leave room for what you cannot fully explain yet. Sometimes healing arrives through one unexpected invitation, one quiet yes, one moment of alignment that changes everything afterward. And when it comes, may your heart feel open enough to receive it. Many people wait for miracles to arrive like lightning. But what if the miracle has already begun, quietly inside you? As you move through this turning point around May 22nd and 23rd, 2026, stop searching outside yourself for constant confirmation. Listen instead to the quieter voice within you, the one that has spoken through every longing, every buried dream, every moment your intuition told you to wait. That voice is not separate from the miracle. It is the miracle. Beginning around these dates, every small choice carries deeper meaning. Every intentional pause, every honest answer, every moment you trust your inner rhythm over outside pressure plants something lasting within your life. Destiny unfolds through alignment, not force. And this season does not ask you to become perfect. It only asks you to become more present, more open, and more willing to trust what your spirit has been trying to show you all along. Can you begin your mornings with stillness instead of urgency? Can you speak your dream aloud again, even if your voice trembles? Can you trust the people returning to your life now, not because the past was perfect, but because you are different now? This season invites you to move forward with grounded faith instead of fear. Let this chapter become less about speed and more about how deeply rooted you become in your own truth. You do not need to chase miracles because part of the miracle is already unfolding within you. You are what happens when quiet courage meets alignment, when softness stops fighting itself, when Taurus no longer waits for permission to honor what the soul already knows. So ask yourself honestly, what truth are you finally ready to live? What part of yourself is asking to return home? And are you willing to release the version of yourself that only survived so you can become the version meant to truly live? If your heart feels ready, leave this in the comments below. I release the need to force. What is meant for me is finding its way back. Let it become a promise to yourself as this new season begins unfolding. And if this video stirred something deep within you, share it. Someone else may need this message as much as you did. Remember, you are not walking through this season alone. This space exists for moments like these, where reflection becomes healing and inner change slowly becomes real movement in everyday life. Thank you for being here, for trusting this message, and for allowing yourself to open again, little by little. And if you have not already, take a moment to subscribe, like the video, and leave your comment below. Not only to support this space, but to honor your own unfolding as well. Taurus, this is not an ending. It is the beginning of something quietly taking root beneath your feet, shaped by the truth you are finally ready to live from.